Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the premiere. Today is the 10 at 10 for August 2nd of 2022. We've got a great 10 at 10 for you. I hope you'll be excited for this one. I'm Matt.
And I'm Tim. And today we're talking about 10 trees that are going to be part of the 20 trees getting listed today at 10 a.m. If you want to know ahead of time what's getting listed, you can watch this video here. You'll get 10 of them. But if you sign up for our weekly emails on MrMaple.com, you'll find out the full 20 around the same time this video is getting aired. If you go in at 10 a.m., you can check out with these plants. Make sure to check out quick though, because when you add them to your cart, it doesn't save them for you. You got to check out, then it holds it for you with your name on those plants. So always remember, we always get people every single week. I had it in my cart and it sold out. And you're looking and it was like the next day when they're emailing this to you. You got to check out quickly with these plants because, like we've mentioned before, we've got over 40,000 people on our customer list. And they love these plants just like you do. So you want to check out really quickly. We do our best to put these in as big a numbers as we can here at the nursery. And I hope you can get a hold of some of these cool plants this Tuesday.
There's a few things on here that are going to go real quick. So be ready for that and don't hate me. I'm the one trying to get these to you. So be ready for that, guys. We greatly appreciate you tuning in. Hey, before we even get started, we greatly appreciate our international community. It's really fun to see that in the comment section below. As always, I apologize we can't ship to you if you're outside the United States. But let us know in the comment section where you're from, where you're watching from this morning. It's always fun to see that. It makes me smile when I see people all over the world. And it's just really fun. Thanks for being part of our MrMaple community here for our 10 at 10 videos and catching our premieres. Even if we can't sell to you, we still appreciate you tuning in.
So like, subscribe, and share. We really appreciate you.
Hey, so we have some fun ones lined up for you here today. The first one here on the table is ACER PALMATUM dissectum red filigree. Now this is one of the most heavily divided foliage we do. It is an interesting, very intricate lace leaf that it's almost hard to capture. Brian got some great shots of this spring, and so we finally have some good photos that kind of replicate what this does, but it's a hard one to capture because each leaf is so filigreed out. It is the maxed out, lace leaf option. It's the thinnest, smallest foliage of almost any lace leaf you can find.
I love this one. I like putting it in a container somewhere up close, or if you're putting it out in the landscape, put a ground cover that's not invasive underneath it that gives you some good color contrast, like a creeping jenny or something along those lines, a small growing yellow sedum, so you can really look and see it from above. This is probably one of the smallest growing red lace leaves that we offer.
Oh yeah, it's a true dwarf for sure.
And a great container plant. So if you want to put a container plant up on your porch, just make sure you've got good drainage and make sure you're in zone 6 through 9 if you're leaving it outside. This one is a fantastic dwarf for that container garden.
One thing I love about this too is it's a red that holds its color exceptionally well, even in dark shade. So if you're looking for a lace leaf that's going to be in a more dark area, but you're wanting some red color, this one does exceptionally well for being red, even with minimal sunlight.
I love this plant.
It's not a delicate plant, it's a very durable plant, but it has so delicate looking foliage that you want to make sure the colors around it complement it, because you almost have to put a sheet behind it to take a photo of it.
Its slow growingness, like how slow growing it is, makes it a fantastic plant. I've heard so many people in zone 5 rave about its cold tolerance and how well it's done for them out there in the ground. And I think part of that is because of that slow growing habit this one has. It's really well acclimated for those colder regions.
It's a very, very dark red, and one I can't get enough of. It's a great plant to be growing in the landscape.
So next up we have ACER PALMATUM TSUKASA silhouette.
Yeah, check out our video on TSUKASA silhouette. We did a video on this one being done as a street tree in downtown Hendersonville. And here they got it from a great nursery too, the place that was planted in downtown. Excellent durability though, even growing outside as a street tree. This is going to be equally as durable to your ACER PALMATUM, but giving you a much more narrow habit. This is going to have exceptional red fall color, but an awesome upright thin habit.
Yeah, and I love this plant. You want to give it some sunlight to really keep that narrow shape. If you put this in deep shade, it will search for the light. So keep that in mind. But this is such a good, fast-growing tree with really good fall color, and it fits in those narrower spaces in the garden.
Yeah, this is one from TSUKASA Maple there in Japan. Tim and I got to go and visit him. Definitely check out our video. We talk a little bit about that in the video. But TSUKASA silhouette, named in America by our friend Don Shadow. Kind of complements the slender silhouette sweet gum there for the silhouette name on it. But awesome plant from TSUKASA Maple Nursery.
Yeah, really cool plant. a really just great tree because it can be used so well in the landscape.
Lovely plant. I love TSUKASA silhouette. I think you're going to want to add that one to your collection. Now, this next one, don't kill me when it sells out quickly. ACER PALMATUM MAYDAY, back in stock. I know Talon didn't even produce this one the last 2 years. We got a lot of his stock plants to kind of keep this one going, so we've got a ton of stock plants here at the nursery so that we can get a lot of sign wood to keep this one in the trade. But there's definitely a shortage on this one the last few years.
Yeah, and MAYDAY is everything you love about Makawa YATSUBUSA, but with some really cool spring colors.
Yeah, it's a pinkish color in the early spring, fading to a yellow, and it holds that yellow really well. I've got an awesome one in my garden. It's probably almost 5 foot now. It's one of the bigger original ones, and just an awesome plant. You know, we celebrate the entire Makawa collection. Nice, dense dwarf habit, but certainly something exceptional. MAYDAY may be the most heavily sought after one right now, definitely with the shortage going on with it. But we're listing a decent amount of these. Heads up, they do sell it really quickly, so don't kill the messenger. I'm definitely trying to get you more of these. We're producing as many of these as we can every single time we can.
One of our favorite dwarfs are those Makawa types because they're great for containers, they're easy to grow. But then we start getting the colors in there on top of the Makawa layering structure. It really adds something special in the landscape and garden. These are great for conifer gardens, great for dwarf fairy gardens, and any collector knows they have to have a MAYDAY in their garden.
Awesome plant, and you know, don't wait on that one. It is going to move pretty quick, but it's a really good plant. Moving on to another really good plant.
ACER SHIRASAWANUM Purple Umbrella. Love this plant's new selection by Crispine Silva. It can almost be black at times, which is awesome. And the leaf structure is a little more widened out than a typical palmatum leaf. I've heard some people say that the SHIRASAWANUMs look like some of the palmatum reds. The leaf structure on this is really different and really unique on that. So you can definitely see the SHIRASAWANUM influence. Definitely not the case with Purple Umbrella. That's where it gets that umbrella type name.
Shout out to Brock Evans. I got to hang out with him a little bit at open house. I hadn't really met him a lot in person. He posted a picture of this one time online, and I said, that can't be correct. And I was growing it myself, but I was growing it more sun than he had. He'd had his in a little bit more shade, and it almost leafed out with a crazy reticulated veining. You certainly can see the veining even in sun, but if you're giving this one some early shade in the spring, it almost fits a reticulated characteristic to it. It can get pretty cool looking and very unique. In sun, like Tim said, you can almost get this into a black hue. It gets some really unique characteristics to it. Purple Umbrella really aptly describes this one. It actually has a real nice burgundy bark to it as well, kind of a lavender to burgundy bark, but exceptional new ACER SHIRASAWANUM hybrid here.
Now, if you're in zone 5, pushing zones, red SHIRASAWANUMs are a great way to help you push that cold tolerance. And that's something to always think about, too, if you're in those colder zones. Red SHIRASAWANUMs are a big, big plus. And anybody can enjoy this plant for this amazing, unique character and leaf. But those zone 5 people who are really pushing their zone, sometimes sometimes get a winter or two every once in a while slightly colder, those red SHIRASAWANUMs are an excellent way to add that color to your landscape and garden.
Really fun plant. Now, next up, we have a plant that's often mislabeled. So you'll see this one more mislabeled in the United States than not. Next, we have Esk Sunset.
And
not Eskimo Sunset.
Yeah. So we'll often see, sometimes you'll see it'll say Esk Sunset, sometimes it'll even say Eskimo Sunset Maple on the bottom, just so people know they're the same thing. But the cultivar name is Esk Sunset. And it was named by the Esk Nursery that's in New Zealand. And amazing, amazing Pseudosubodianum that can give you pinks and pinks in the spring, new growth right now. We've got white mottled on green. And the awesome thing about this plant is with sunlight, this thing gets purple red to the backside of the leaves. And you're looking up into it, and it's just amazing where you see the sunlight hitting it with that white and pinks with that purple backdrop.
So it's a great plant to be growing in the garden. If you don't have any ACER Pseudoplatanus, this one's going to give you a lot of diversity for foliage. Esk Sunset, though, beautiful plant to be growing. It's going to give you a large leaf to it and just really add something to your maple garden.
Yeah, awesome plant. If you love variegated plants, you got to have Esk Sunset because it's just so unique with every splash, spring, summer, and then fall color on this plant is pretty good as well. I mean, this is a good plant to have in their landscape and garden. It takes a long time, but this will turn into a larger tree.
For sure.
I mean, it's going to be about a foot of growth per year, but there's some places in Europe that there's some that have been around for 30, 40 years.
I've seen some gorgeous specimens in New Jersey that were sold by Frank Biles that were probably 30 plus years old, and wow, I mean, they were exceptional. They were put up next to the house, and you enjoyed not only the variegated part, but you could kind of get under these trees and look up into them. Heather Strong also has a beautiful specimen of this. I really enjoy her pictures on that one.
Awesome plant to add to your landscape and garden. Something very unique and very different. Not a Japanese maple, but a sycamore maple that adds that ornamental appeal. So next we've got ACER Palmatum Gold Digger. Awesome selection from the Area 51 collection.
Yeah, this is one we put a name on. Gold Digger, we've got videos that talk about this one a good bit, but awesome, kind of a lighter yellow bark to it. Going into the winter months, it'll actually be more red. What I like most about this one is that spring foliage has a lot of pink to the yellow, so you have yellow bark and almost yellow pink foliage. So it's got a lot going on for it. It's a very unique coral bark selection. I think it kind of stands on its own there as far as coral barks go. Really fun to be growing though, and great color palette. It definitely, if you give it a little more early morning sun, you'll get some pink hues in this one in the early spring too, which are really nice.
Yeah, awesome plant with that yellow to orange on the bark. Shout out to Laddie Munger who found this in Raleigh. It was a chance seedling he'd found from the J.C. Ralston Arboretum. We were teaching a grafting class, and he said, "Hey guys, you should come check out my tree." He sent us photos of the plant, and we had to go check out the tree.
Yeah.
And eventually it became Gold Digger.
Even what impressed us on that one is even the older bark had a lot of nice yellow in it.
And in the shade, this plant really has that nice pale yellow color all up and down the bark, giving it some really good winter interest for the winter landscape and garden. Really cool plant. One that I like because it has some of that pink spring color, that apricot spring color on a coral bark type, but then that fall color can often give you more of those oranges, which is really unique.
Well, let's keep it moving. We got a 10 at 10 train to catch. It's coming up on 10. I know you guys are watching this one. A lot of people are watching them live nowadays. We really appreciate that. These premiere every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern, and again, the 10 at 10 comes up at 10. So next up on the list, we have ACER Palmatum Red Spray. So
a cool red upright selection. Red Spray was a batch of seedlings that Gary Handy had sold as a grouping name of Red Spray, and then they started, one that was exceptional from the group started getting grafted as a grafted clone because it had that glowing effect when you had the sunlight. Just a good strong grower, good upright form, and a different color red, as we talk about in one of our videos on Red Spray, than the other Japanese maples. It's a little more picked up red out there in the landscape and garden. Yeah,
so it started out a little more as a seedling set, then became a specific cultivar. I can see why people started grafting this one specifically. Some awesome shades on it, especially the early spring. It can be a very picked up light red, kind of what you think of as that like very fire engine bright red, especially in early spring.
And we've got one of these in our gardens at the entrance at Maplewood Gardens, and it's a plant people are always like, man, look at that color.
Yeah.
And amazing plant, and we are offering them on MrMaple. So you better check out with these quick.
It's one people might not know online, but certainly people come to the nursery, see that plant, and they're like, wow, that thing's crazy, I got to get one of those. But as we do more and more of it, I think it'll even get more popular online.
And I think as time goes on and we start having some more open hours, you better check out quick with these before we start having those open hours, because these run quickly as soon as people see the plant at Maplewood Gardens.
For sure.
So we've got a conifer for you. That's one of our more popular conifers we offer on MrMaple, CHAMAECYPARIS obtusa CHIRIMEN.
Lovely plant. I think, this one's been around a while. We love these plants. These are actually done as rooted cuttings here. So these will be rooted cutting style. Some good sizes on these for 1 gallons. Exceptional small Hinoki cypress with just some really unique traits. We have one at the entranceway to Hillstone Arboretum, and people often comment on that one. It's just really funky looking and cool little plant there. It's got awesome rock work behind it, so it's a hard plant to miss because right there at the gate. But really fun small plant.
Excellent plant for the fairy garden, for miniature railroad gardens. At the North Carolina Arboretum, they've got a miniature railroad garden. And at the miniature railroad garden, they've got plenty of these CHAMAECYPARIS obtusa CHIRIMEN growing there in the garden. It looks amazing, adds a lot to the garden, and adds to the essence of that little teeny tiny village that the railroad runs around. You can do that in a dwarf conifer garden, you can do that in a fairy garden, you can do that in a railroad garden, but they also give really good complements to Japanese maples out in the landscape and garden because they look almost fuzzy and alive.
Yeah, I've seen some larger ones of these that were really established, It'd have to be a really old plant to be that size. I have seen a 12-footer. It was probably one of the very first ones in the country. I think Brian Upchurch was kind of instrumental in kind of getting this one popular. So he has a very, very large one there at his farm. But really fun, small, compact conifer. And they'll probably not last too long on the 10 at 10. That one's always fairly popular for a conifer for us.
The thing I like most about it is that sort of blue-green color can give sometimes over top of that green with that silver color in it. Really adds something special to it.
So next up, another popular one, backed by popular demand. We've got ACER palmatum AMAGI SHIGURE.
Blue Japanese maples aren't real, but AMAGI SHIGURE can give you some unreal purples in the spring. Some really nice shades of lavender.
Yeah, this one looks unreal. It looks metallic-y in the early spring. It's one of the more wild colored, you know, I'll call it a purple ghost variant. There's definitely kind of a purple ghost category now. Talon first saw this one in Japan and was like, wow, you know, is this purple ghost? What is this? It looks amazing. And it's an even dwarfer, more small, compact form of that. It actually has a little bit more violet color to it too. So it's a little bit more of a violet to it. But think of this as the dwarf purple ghost. So excellent for container gardening. Typically 6 foot in 10 years, so not a gigantic plant, but excellent growth. You definitely want to give this one some hot afternoon protection from that hot afternoon sun. When I say that, I mean that 3 p.m. on sun, you want to protect it from that. So if you can provide late day shade, you're going to have your best colors on this one.
And this one will really have a really nice arching habit to it, where the branches arch over as it has that more dwarf compact form. It's not necessarily not weeping, but arching with the side branches. Really gives this one something special, especially with that lavender purple color in the spring.
Great sizes on these.
So next up, we have ACER palmatum YUENO YATSUBUSA. Everything you love about Katsura Winayama, but in a dwarfer form. We had some stock plants here at the nursery that were in 7 gallons that were pretty old. We'd grafted off of Bill Taylor's down in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And after about 6-7 years, when Katsura Winayama would be up here, you know, they were probably 4 feet tall, probably about 2 foot wide, really dense and more compact than Katsura Winayama. And that's what you get with this plant, is that more dense, compact form on Winayama.
Awesome colors to this. It's going to be a neon orange in the early spring, some hints of yellow in there. Again, midsummer when we're shooting this, we're actually shooting this again in July. This will be airing August 2nd. So it's actually late in the season when we're shooting this. There'll be a little bit more green during this time of the year. You still get some great orange new growth flushes, but really nice compact habit there on it, and exceptional, almost like pink orange new growth there in the spring. And some excellent sizes on these 1 gallons right now as well.
And I know many of y'all often put in the comments, hey, pick me out one with a central leader. That will be harder to do with YUENO YATSUBUSA because it does throw up multiple branches. Also be a cool candidate for bonsai.
For sure,
because
small foliage.
The small foliage, the denser compact shape, and that spring color is everything you love about those Winayama types. Ueno is a park in Japan that is famous for the cherry blossoms. And that's where Winayama gets its name, is from Ueno Park. It's because they say it has that spring blooming effect. Well, this is Ueno and then Yatsubusa, which means dwarf. And that's because of that denser, more compact habit. And a really cool plant with that mid-sized flowering shrub type appeal, but with some amazing spring color.
Hey, we hope you've enjoyed this video on our 10 at 10 for August 2nd of 2022. Again, these sizes are indicative of what we have right now. If you're watching this video a year from now, our sizes could be larger or smaller. We're still doing a hashtag giveaway. It's hashtag Japanese Maples. We're going to be giving away some gift cards, so you can comment under every single video on Mr. Maple to be entered to win. That's hashtag Japanese Maples. We greatly appreciate you guys watching our 10 at 10 premieres. Like I said, they're quickly becoming some of our more popular videos here on Mr. Maple. Definitely some of our most consistently watched content. Check out some of our other stuff if you're watching this 10 at 10. We've got some crazy things coming up. We've got garden tours. We've got all kinds of how-to and gardening content, like Gardening 101 kind of stuff, where we give instruction about Japanese maples and how to better care for your Japanese maples, as well as full Japanese maple highlight videos. So we're doing a specific video on a certain cultivar and diving a little bit more into it than we do in these 10 at 10 videos.
And these 10 at 10s, we're working hard to bring you new and exciting plants every single week. It takes a lot of work and energy into doing this. We really appreciate y'all as customers.
So thanks so much for tuning into our 10 at 10 video. These will go live at 10 a.m. Eastern today, don't forget. So be ready at 10 a.m. There's a lot of fun plants on this one. This is just 10 of the 20. There'll actually be 20. sign up for the email. You'll be getting the notification right away. I know a lot of folks are reading that email right along with our video, so we greatly appreciate that. We appreciate you commenting in the premieres as well. That's a fun way for us to interact with you. I know Brian and I often hop in there and chat with folks in the live premiere, and it's kind of fun to see the community. I mean, shout out to Brandon, he's always in there, and we kind of keep up with each other through that. So it's kind of a fun way to communicate and just build that little community going on.
We hope you enjoyed today's video. Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.